for those of you who've ever asked, Kev, why don't you keep the replays of the YouNow stuff on YouTube so we can watch later on? This is why, because the first 2 minutes of them are usually me saying, is it live? Is it working? Can you hear me? What's happening? That doesn't make for a good replay. How are we all anyway? Just while I'm waiting to see if YouTube is up and running. We all had a good day. We all enjoying the sunshine. Have we had sunshine today? Oh yes, we are live on YouTube as well, I think. Yes. Magical stuff. So we'll just give it a minute for people to make their way in. Just to give you an idea, this is slightly different from a normal Coffee with Kev. I know I've started getting back into the Coffee with Kev stuff again, and I do have a coffee, so I can see why it would feel like a Coffee with Kev. But actually what I wanted to do today is just chat a little bit about today's vlog, because there's been a lot of questions, as expected, an awful lot of questions. Whenever anybody on the internet talks about diets, everybody's got something to say about it. And I'd just be interested in having a little bit of a chat. So if you've got anything you'd like to say, any questions you'd like to ask, specific to that topic, I'm going to try and keep it loosely on topic for once, then fire away. If you are watching on YouTube, just as a reminder, with these YouNow streams, I can't actually see the YouTube chat. You can, by all means, watch the whole thing over on YouTube. But if you want to ask a question, if you want me to see what you're saying down in the chat, the only way you can do that is to come over here to YouNow. And the link to that is right at the top of the description. I'm just checking. It's right at the top of the description. Just click on there. That'll bring you over to YouNow. Or just head to YouNow, search for Lelujo, search Kevin Chapman. Click on the Ask Questions trending section, because we're number one in that at the moment. So there's lots of ways to find me, but the one thing you need to remember is that if you are on YouTube, I can't see what you're saying. So if you want to ask a question, if you want to get involved, come over here to YouNow and we can do it that way. Right, let's have a look to see what's going on down in the chat. Just as a reminder for latecomers, I'm trying to keep this loosely on topic tonight, about diet, health, healthy eating, that kind of thing. So I'm going to favor questions on those kind of topics. Obviously, if we get to a point where there's no questions about that or nobody's got anything to say about that, then I'll do any topic type stuff. But for now, I'm going to be deliberately picking out the ones that are related to what we want to be talking about. So Jacob Harris, for example, saying, do I want to go on a diet? No, I don't. See why in today's vlog. No, I don't. I've been trying to go on a diet for the last 15 years. I've come to the conclusion that diets don't work. And what I actually need to do is make some long-term healthy changes to what I'm eating and what I'm doing. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm cutting out sugar. I'm cutting out refined carbohydrates. I'm cutting out highly processed junk food. What I'm not doing is limiting what I'm eating. I'm not dieting. I'm not tracking points or calories or anything like that. I'm just trying to use common sense and eat healthy, natural foods. So yeah, I absolutely don't want to be doing a diet. Why do some people feel the need to invade someone else's diet plans? I think the thing with that's Cameron who's asked that question. I think diets and health in general is very, very personal to people. And especially if you've invested a lot of time or money in doing it your way, it can make you feel quite defensive about your way being the right way, especially if you've found a little bit of success. So if you've spent £5 a week for 6 months going to Slimming World and you've lost a couple of stone, and you've got your £5 a week that's gone out, you've got your Slimming World cookbooks, you've been buying your special foods, you've been giving up an hour, 2 hours a week to go to classes, and you're doing well, you've lost a couple of stone. It can be that investment of time and money and a little bit of short-term success can make you super, super passionate that is the only right way. It's the only way that can be done. Everybody should do it that way. And it is the right way, because to acknowledge that there is other ways is acknowledging that you might have wasted your time and money and you could have done it cheaper with less time spent with eating different types of food. So I think that's why people get so passionate about it. And you also get a lot of fat shaming kind of stuff where people who don't have a weight problem, who are naturally thin, are of the attitude that fat people are just fat because they're greedy and lazy, which is not the case at all. different people have different metabolisms, different genetic makeups, different lifestyle experiences, different medical conditions. And just because it's easy for one person to lose weight, they find it. So, and it's a massive generalization. This isn't an attack on thin people, but it can be very easy for someone who's naturally thin and has never struggled with their weight to look at someone who is overweight and not understand why they find it so hard. So I think it's a combination of all that stuff, which makes people feel like they're right and not necessarily want to listen to alternative points of view. Natalie says, have you talked with your GP about your weight? I did last year and I was 4 stone. I've been talking to my GP about my weight for 15 years. Their general feedback is try and lose some weight. I go, I'm trying to lose some weight. They go, good, carry on trying to lose some weight. And that's pretty much how it goes. What happened with you doing what you did at uni with making lots of meals in batches? That is a good question, Matthew. If I was still single and living on my own, that is absolutely what I'd still be doing, and I'd still be 16 stone or whatever I was when I was at uni. The issue with those meals, though, is Anna is quite a fussy eater and doesn't like much of that stuff. So she doesn't like anything with beans in, because of, I say she's fussy, it's a little bit unfair. Yes, she doesn't like beans. So stuff like chili con carne and things like that are out. But also because of her gluten and lactose intolerance, she can't have lasagna. She can't have anything pasta based. She can't have anything with a cheese base to it. She doesn't like spicy food. So I used to make a lot of curries and she doesn't like spice. So trying to make it so that, I mean, my batch cooked meals when I was at uni, I would do like 8 meals. It would be maybe 4 or 5 different curries, a chili con carne, a spaghetti bolognese, and a lasagna. And they'd be the 8 things that I'd cook. And then I'd just rotate through them every day, and they'd all be healthy home cooked meals. And of all of them, I think Anna could probably eat maybe one of them, and she isn't really keen on that. So it's finding a way to make it so that we can all eat meals together as a family whilst eating healthy. And that's the bit that we've struggled with, because me and Anna like completely different foods, and it's a challenge trying to find a way for us. Our crossover foods that we like are all quite unhealthy, so it's trying to find stuff that we both like that is also healthy, which has always been our challenge. What does Andy eat now? It's pretty much the same as what he's always eaten, really. He's back on fish fingers at the moment. He's drinking a bit more water, but other than that, he's good. That's key. How did the bread making go? The bread making was okay. I didn't show the bread on the vlog. I probably should have done. The bread tasted really good, but texture wise, it was a little bit dense and it fell apart and it was very flat, and it was like a big bread roll rather than a loaf. As soon as it came out the oven and I saw it, I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy a bread maker, and I ordered a bread maker immediately. The bread tasted really nice, but we've got a bread maker arriving tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be making my own healthy wholemeal bread from tomorrow, and I won't ever have to go back to store-bought bread, which is one of my major weaknesses. Refined carbohydrates in store-bought breads with all the other chemicals and preservatives and things like that get pumped into those. Cut all that out, make my own bread, and just make that one of many healthy changes. Are you going to try more traditional weight loss techniques, just exercise and eating pure foods? I feel like you've not watched today's vlog, have you? That's exactly what I've described. What piece of food would I miss the most if I went on a diet? I mean, it depends on what the diet is. It's complicated, because, I mean, what I'm doing now, the cutting out sugar and refined carbohydrates and junk food type stuff, highly processed food, the things that I'll miss most doing that are, I don't know, pork pies, sausage rolls, that kind of thing. The really processed, like Greg's snacks. Well, I never really got them from Greg's, but that kind of thing, I guess. But some of my favorite foods I can still eat in unlimited amounts doing it that way. Whereas if I was doing Slimming World or Weight Watchers, it might be that I'd miss something else. If I was doing paleo or Atkins or 5-2, I mean, different diets, you miss different things. And that's one of the motivations behind doing it the way I'm doing it, is that I find it difficult to limit stuff. It's complicated. It's super complicated. I'm just scrolling back through the chat again, trying to find some on-topic questions. If you are watching on YouTube, just a reminder, if you want to get involved in the chat, you need to do that over on YouNow. There's no way for me to see, or I can't see the YouTube chat. So there's no way for you to be involved in the conversation. If you're on YouTube, you have to come over to YouNow to get involved in the chat. The YouNow link is at the top of the description if you're watching on YouTube, or you can just come to younow.com/Delujo. Do I still go to the gym? I do, apart from the fact I can't really in school holidays. And that again comes down to it's just an issue. It's one of the prices I pay for family life. Anna doesn't drive, so I could go to the gym every day throughout the summer holidays, but that's a little bit unfair because Andy's at home all the time. The girls are here from time to time as well. Anna's going out to work. I'm obviously still having to do my work as well. So our opportunity for family time is quite limited. And Anna is spending all of her time either at work or looking after the kids. So for me to then take an hour and a half out of every day or out of 3 days a week to go and do something else on top of what I'm already having to do, but not giving her the opportunity to come too, because obviously when the kids are at school, we go to the gym together. It just seems a little bit unfair. So rather than going to the gym during the summer holidays, I'm just trying to up my activity in general. If we have a little look on Fitbit to see how many steps I've done in the last 7 days, and I know steps aren't everything, but we did make a conscious effort when we were down in Bournemouth, for example, to walk a lot more than we normally would. We were a good 15-minute walk from the beach and from the town centre, but we parked the car when we got there on the Wednesday and didn't move it until we left because we wanted to walk. We wanted to get that exercise. So I've done 82,000 steps in the last 7 days, which is way above my normal activity levels. So I'm just trying to increase activity that way. Can we have a house tour vlog? I've done house tour vlogs before. I don't need to do any more. What would be my ideal weight? See, I probably disagree with doctors and stuff about that. According to my BMI, and if you asked a doctor, my ideal weight at my height would be about 13.5 stone. Now, I've not been that kind of weight since I was about 14, and I was never super fat as a kid. As you know, I'm a big lad. I played rugby at school. I'm wide. There's a lot of me. So I think for me, if I got down to 16, 17 stone, I think that would be a manageable weight for the rest of my life, 16, 17 stone. I certainly wouldn't look fat at that kind of weight, and I'd be a lot healthier for sure. I went on Slimming World and lost 17 pounds. See, I get a lot of comments like that, and that's fine. Congratulations for losing 17 pounds on Slimming World. I tried Slimming World. It's fine, you know, while you're doing it. But the only way Slimming World works is if you do it forever. As soon as you stop doing it, you go back to eating what you normally eat and the weight goes back on. I know people who've lost 10 stone on Slimming World and put most of it back on, because it doesn't actually teach you how to live healthy long term. It just teaches you how to diet on Slimming World, and nobody wants to do that forever. And also, no disrespect, but if I lost 17 pounds, you wouldn't notice. I mean, I need times that by 6 maybe, and I need to lose over 100 pounds, I imagine. I don't quite know the conversion between pounds and stone. Yeah, 17 pounds is not an advert for a weight loss thing for me. I could probably lose 17 pounds this week if I really put my mind to it, and you wouldn't notice. Right, let's continue scrolling through. Looking for some questions. So this is from Maria. Gluten-free, high protein is what my husband has to do due to medical issues. Also take time looking at dietary supplements. Gluten-free, high protein. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I don't need to be gluten-free. And I also don't necessarily need a huge amount of protein. I don't want to fall into the trap of having to track macros like protein and carbs and things like that. I've tried to do that before, and this is one of the reasons why the paid diets, the likes of Weight Watchers, and I feel like I'm bashing Slimming World a lot. It's not just anti-Slimming World, it's all these. I've tried them all. Things like Weight Watchers or Slimming World, or even just counting calories using something like MyFitnessPal. I'm never going to do anything like that long term because I just won't. I'll get busy and forget to do it. and I'll just stop tracking it, and then I'll stop thinking about it, and then I'll stop doing it. So I know myself well enough now, after 15 years of trying to lose weight, that if I have to track it every meal or every day, I'll stop. There have been times where I've kept it going 3, 4, 5 months in the past, but ultimately I've always stopped. So there's no point me doing anything that's going to involve me having to track stuff, because I'll just stop tracking it. Whereas if I deliberately, with the idea of what I'm trying to do, if I cut out sugar, refined carbs, highly processed junk foods, if I cut that stuff out entirely for 100 days, that's going to be a huge kickstart. But I'm not saying I'm never going to eat that stuff again for the rest of my life. I'm saying, right, let's go 100 days not touching that stuff to break any addictions that I might have to sugars or the chemicals that are in any of these processed foods. Let's get rid of all that, make it so that I don't crave that stuff anymore, and then gently reintroduce some of those things back into my diet, but in moderation. Learn what moderation means. Learn to understand my body a little bit more. So never get back to the point where I'm eating takeaways twice a week or any of this other, make it so that if I have a biscuit, I can have one biscuit, not half a pack of biscuits. Or if I'm having, those bags of kettle chips, I'd like to be able to just take a portion out of one of those. That'd be amazing. But anyone who is a fat guy like I am will know that if you open a bag of kettle chips or Doritos or any of these things that come in the massive bags, if you open that, you're just going to eat the whole thing. That's just how it is. And I know people will say, Kev, that comes down to willpower and having a bit of self-control. I agree, but I need to learn that. I need to learn how to know when I'm full. And again, this is one of those things that people who eat relatively healthy naturally, or people who are naturally thin, they have these inbuilt things where you'll know when you're full, you'll know when you've had enough. When I used to go to work, when I used to be a teacher, we'd bring cakes in every Thursday, and you'd sometimes there'd be people who'd have a piece of cake and not be able to finish it. And I look and I'm utterly baffled by that. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic or facetious way. I genuinely can't get my head around someone not being able to finish a piece of cake. I just don't understand. I could eat an entire cake and not feel full. It's cake. Cake doesn't make you full. It's just cake. I'll eat cake until there's no cake left. So I need to cut all that stuff out entirely and then teach myself how a portion feels in my body, in my blood sugar, in my mouth, how much is enough, and then gradually reintroduce stuff and just generally try and make it long-term lifestyle changes. That's the thinking anyway. Right, let's keep, for those of you who are just joining now, we're having a bit of a focused chat tonight rather than just a random coffee with Kev. This is more of a focused chat on diet and health and fitness and weight loss. So if you've got any questions on any of those things, come on over to YouNow, get involved in the chat over here. If you are watching on YouTube, by all means, carry on watching on YouTube, but I can't see the chat on YouTube. So if you want to get involved in the chat, the only way you can do that is by coming over to YouNow. The link is at the top of the description on YouTube. I welcome you over here. I love talking about this stuff because talking about it helps me clear it out in my mind. And I'm one of those weird people who I am a fat guy, but I've been trying to lose weight for so long that I feel like I'm a little bit of an expert on the topic as well, because I've read dozens of books. I've tried everything. I'm not one of these people who is fat because he doesn't understand what a carbohydrate is or what fat is or what a calorie is. Believe me, I know all that stuff. I just can't put it into practice. Have I tried Slimming World meals? No, I've got absolutely no interest in going down the route of ready meals. Just, to me, that's the worst kind of junk. I don't want ready meals. I've always struggled. I have an underactive thyroid. Slimming World worked, but I put it all back on. Well, in that case, it didn't work, because if all it is a quick fix that stops working as soon as you stop doing it, to me that hasn't worked. How can I do a metaphor for this? Here you go. You get a puncture in your car and you take it to the mechanic, and they put the the air. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know the technical terms, but they put the pump on the tire and pump the tire back up again, and it's fully inflated. And they say to you, "There you go. That worked. I fixed your tire. It's fully inflated." And then you take the pump out and you drive it home, and it's flat again when you get halfway home. And you ring up the mechanic, and you're, what do you mean you fixed it? It's flat again. Whatever you did clearly didn't work. And their response is, well, no, I got it fully inflated again. That's what you asked me to do. That to me, I know that's, if I was writing a book or doing a speech here, I'd have thought that out a little bit better. But I think it kind of illustrates my point of, if you're fat and you go to Slimming World or Weight Watchers and you lose 2 stone or 3 stone, and then you stop going, and a year later you've put all that weight back on, it didn't work. Because as soon as you stopped going, you got fat again. Nothing changed. You didn't learn how to eat healthily. All you proved is that while you're being closely observed and having to weigh yourself every week in front of somebody, that you can behave yourself then, but you didn't actually learn to be more healthier in yourself. It's like you're testing the tire with the pump still in. That makes sense in my head. Right, let's scan back through for some more questions. I'm so far behind on the chat, and I apologize. Will I start going to the gym again? I've already talked about the gym. Just stay away from the keto diet. We all know how that turned out. Yeah, I'm not planning on doing the keto diet. I don't want to do any kind of silly fad diets, and ultimately I wouldn't do anything. And I think I've learned enough at this point where I'm not going to do anything that restricts something that the body needs. So the body needs fat, so I'm not going to restrict the fat. The body needs carbohydrate, it needs protein. I'm not going to limit those things really, really low. What the body doesn't need is sugar, and the body doesn't need ready meals and pork pies and biscuits. So I can get rid of that stuff. None of that's needed. So that's stuff I can remove and limit. Starbucks would be hard to give up. Well, I don't need to give up Starbucks. I drink black coffee. Coffee isn't one of I'm not getting any calories from my coffee, so that's fine. Right. I have a slow metabolism, and I had surgery where I struggled to eat, and when I did it had to be full of dairy and calories, and then I was on bed rest for 2 months. Fair enough. How well do you think about Slimming World? I've talked about Slimming World a lot already. My mother makes Slimming World recipes. They're amazing. I'm sure they are, but I don't want to do low fat, that's basically what Slimming World is. It's a low fat diet. And I don't want to, if I had sit here, rather than think about what, I'm trying to look at it from a point of view of, I don't want to just pick the diet that's going to help me lose the most weight now. I want to pick the diet that I can do for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And if I think about things think about things to give up forever, I don't want to give up the stuff that Slimming World really restricts, because I like that stuff. I don't want to give up cheese. I don't want to give up pizza and burgers. I like that stuff. But I could happily go the rest of my life never eating a Haribo, or never drinking a can of pop, or never, I don't know what else, never having like store-bought bread or cake. I can give up that stuff for life, not a problem. So it's all about picking the bits that bother me and the bits that don't. And if people think that's a bit extreme and there's no way to stick to that, bear in mind, I used to drink, I used to smoke. I don't do any of those things anymore. And I think if you were to take people who have drunk alcohol, smoked tobacco, eaten food, so I'm looking for people who've done all 3 of those things, and you ask them to put in order which of those, okay, let's say not food, let's say eaten Twixes. So drank alcohol, smoked tobacco, eaten Twixes. Which of those 3 is the easiest to give up, which is the hardest to give up? I think everyone who meets those 3 criteria will say, well, obviously the easiest thing out of those 3 to give up is Twix, because it is. I can stop eating sugar much easier than people stop drinking, much easier than people stop smoking. So it is possible to just go cold turkey and never touch these things again. And I wasn't like addicted to alcohol or anything. I just didn't really enjoy drinking it. So that, for me, that wasn't particularly hard to stop. But I've never craved alcohol, and I haven't had it for a couple of years. I did used to really like smoking. I haven't had a cigarette for years, so I don't crave it at all. If you offered me a cigarette now, I wouldn't want it. I don't like the smell anymore. It is relatively easy just to decide that you don't want something anymore and just stop having it. And that's what I'm trying to do with the things that I've decided are bad. Would I give Couch to 5K and have a try? No, mainly because I'm a broken man. I wouldn't try it in the moment. Let's put it that way. If you combine all of my ailments together, me trying to run is a bad idea. One knee has something called a patella subluxation, which basically means my kneecap pops in and out and dislocates when it feels like. So that's in one of my knees. In the other knee, I tore my ACL like 4 years ago and never had it repaired, and that swells up if I walk on it too long. So I've got two dodgy knees. I'm majorly overweight. If I tried to run, I'm either going to injure myself, one of my knees or both of my knees are going to give up almost immediately, which is what happened when I tried last time. Or if I do somehow manage to keep my knees together, I'm going to have a heart attack doing it because I'm so unfit and so overweight. So I'm not keen to run ever, really. Would I wish I had bigger muscles? I don't know. What do I need bigger muscles for? Am I planning on lifting something really heavy? I certainly don't need cosmetic. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't need to look like I've got bigger muscles. I could not care less what my body looks like. I just want to be healthy, and that's all it's about. Try Slimming World recipes. They're delicious. I've tried Slimming World recipes. Some of them are nice, some of them are not. I don't want to do low fat though, so I'm not going to do Slimming World recipes. Scanning through. We've probably got another 5 minutes or so. What's my motivation to lose weight? Says Courtney. It's literally health. I'm 37. I'm majorly overweight. I've got high blood pressure. I'm probably going to be diagnosed with diabetes in the next 5 years if I carry on as I am. I'm on the fast track to a stroke and a heart attack. There's a history of cancer in my family. If I carry on as I am, I won't see age 60. Probably won't even see age 50 if I carry on as I am. So I need to sort my health out. It is purely health. That's all I'm interested in. Are the whole family in the whole losing weight thing? Well, the whole family doesn't need to lose weight. So no, it's just me and Anna who are trying to lose weight. Easiest way is to prep food and then it's ready when you're hungry. Oh, I agree completely. It's finding the time to do that though, which is the problem. What's my favorite food? Pizza. And we're having pizza on Thursday. We're having a healthy pizza. Keep scanning through. Can't do that in my lifestyle changes. I have to slowly get rid of sugars. Yeah, see, I'm the complete opposite. And this is the point I was trying to make in the video and struggled to get across, I think, that everybody is different with these kind of things. Because for me, if I try and say, right, well, yesterday I had 8 chocolate biscuits. I didn't. Yesterday I had 8 chocolate biscuits. So today I'm only going to have 4. And then tomorrow I'm only going to have 2. And then the day after I'm only going to have 1. What will happen is I'll have 8 chocolate biscuits every day, because if I have 1, I'm going to have another one, and then I'm going to have another couple, and I'm just going to finish the packet. Whereas if I tell myself I'm not going to have any chocolate biscuits today, I won't have any chocolate biscuits today. I have to just cut it out completely and make it in my mind. So, well, there's no negotiation, no option. I'm just not having that stuff today. And to me, that's the only way that works. Keep skipping through. Cakes while being a teacher. Cakes can't. All teachers do is eat cakes. That's why I got fat, because I became a teacher. I'm majorly behind on this chat, aren't I? I realise some of the comments I'm seeing shows just how far behind I am. Let's skip right down to the bottom, because we've only got a couple of minutes left, because I'm doing a Twitch stream at 9 o'clock, which won't be about this. It will just be a normal Twitch stream playing some Football Manager. So let's have a little look at what the most recent comments are. Have I spoken to a doctor? I have spoken to a doctor. I don't feel like I need a dietitian because I know everything they could tell me. And I know that makes me seem super big-headed, but I've read all the books. I feel like I'm an intelligent man who understands this stuff. I don't need to see a dietitian. I know what my problem is. I eat too much rubbish and I need to stop doing it. And a dietitian isn't going to be able to help me with that, because a dietitian isn't going to give me the magic bullet that stops me wanting to have chips or burgers or biscuits or crisps. That's something only I can do myself. I know why I'm fat and I know what I have to do to stop being fat. So I don't think a doctor can help me. Would I consider surgery? I don't think I would qualify for surgery. I think you have to be seriously overweight to qualify for surgery. And I genuinely believe if I got close to that, I'd die before I got to the point where I qualified. Let's pick out a couple more questions. We'll do 3 more questions. What types of thing do I do at the gym? When I'm going, which like I say, I haven't been during the summer holidays, but when I go, I lift weights Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I swim on Tuesday and Thursday. And I know there'll be so many people saying, Kev, you've got to do more cardio. Like I say, I've read a lot of books. I strongly disagree. I don't need to get into why I disagree now. It's the simple fact of muscle burns more energy than fat does. So actually, for weight loss, the best thing I could do is lift weights, build my muscle, raise my resting metabolism, my resting metabolic rate, increase that by adding more muscle mass, and that will make it easier to lose weight without doing anything at all. Whereas just running on a treadmill or riding a bike, all that's doing is burning calories in the moment, which is fine if I'm just aiming for pure calorie deficit that day, but that's never been what I'm aiming for. I'm never looking for a quick fix because I'm not in it to look better. I'm not interested in, I want to lose 50 pounds by my birthday. I'm not into any of that. I just want to get healthier. So the best way for me to get healthier is slow and steady, build muscle, eat better, slowly decrease weight, slowly get fitter. If I feel like I'm becoming fit enough to maybe try running or try cycling or try something a little bit more cardio intensive, I'd love to be able to run a marathon. It would be awesome. But I'm realistic. I'm probably never going to, because I was never built for endurance anyway. I'm a power athlete. I was a forward when I played rugby, not one of these little backs who runs around everywhere. I was there for the big power move stuff that you do, an explosion of exertion and then rest for a little while and walk to the next explosion of exertion. I'm like genetically more suited to weightlifting, or I guess sprinting, but I've always been too heavy to sprint. Right, 2 more questions then. You still have to have a calorific deficit. Exactly. And I will have. And I explained this to someone on Twitter earlier. I don't need to count calories in order to have a calorie deficit, because if I just change the foods I'm going to eat, I'll naturally end up with a calorie deficit. Because if I eat an entire pack of biscuits, I don't even know how many calories that is. You're probably looking at 1,500 calories from an entire pack of biscuits. If I eat an entire pack of apples, for a start, who eats a whole pack of apples? I don't think you can eating a whole pack of apples because you get full. But even if I did, it's going to be 500 calories for a bag of apples, which is nowhere near the biscuits anyway. So just by choosing better foods, I'm going to fill up quicker. So I'm not going to be able to overeat as much. I was reading about something a few months ago. I think someone mentioned it in the comments, called the watermelon diet, where basically you change nothing other than the fact you eat a watermelon before every meal. And it has the effect of, if you've just eaten a watermelon, you can't fit much food in after that. And it's the same kind of principle. If I'm filling up on healthy, fibrous foods, I'm going to feel fuller quicker. So I'm not going to be able to overeat as much. So I'm going to naturally end up in calorie deficit without trying. Right. Last question. Did I play sports before? I played every sport at school, every sport. But then just started to pick up injuries. And I think that was always the thing. Back when I was very sporty, I didn't understand any of it. I've kind of been both ends of it. I've been the naturally quite fit and sporty person who, because I didn't really understand it, didn't warm up properly, didn't train properly, ended up getting injured, and when I was injured I carried on eating like I was still playing sports, and then started to put on weight, which made it more likely to get injured, and it was just, I kind of spiraled from there. So when I was fit and healthy, I didn't really understand why. Now I think I do understand what I need to get back there, but I've gone so far down this road that it's hard to U-turn and go back the other way now. Last point, Mr. Lovely says the key to losing weight is to keep off the carbs. Completely disagree. The key to lose weight is just to eat healthily. That's the most important thing. It's, you don't have to keep off the carbs, you just have to keep off the bad carbs. I'm not going to have sugar, I'm not going to have refined carbs, but you know, carrots are carbs. You cannot tell me that there is a diet that makes sense that says, oh no, you shouldn't eat too many carrots, they're full of carbs, you know. Well, they're carrots. I mean, you just have to apply a little bit of common sense sometimes. Fruit and veg, full of carbs, but obviously they're good for you. Eat as many fruit and veg as you want. Just maybe lay off the pastry and the cakes. They're the carbs you need to avoid. That's all it comes down to. But we are going to have to wrap things up there. Thank you to those of you who have joined me for this chat. I think I might make this one available as a replay just because it answers a lot of the questions that people have been asking, and it's a good place to point people to when they come back with more of these questions. I know not everyone agrees with me about this kind of stuff. I'm not that bothered. I hope I'll be able to kind of look back on this in a year's time and say, look, I was right. Look how much healthier I am now. Or I might be wrong. Who knows? But at least I'm doing something which I wasn't doing a month ago. So that's got to be a positive. Thank you for joining me this evening. I do need to go and get ready for the Twitch stream. If you want something a little less serious and a little bit more fun, come and join me over on Twitch at 9 o'clock. Otherwise, I will see you on tomorrow's vlog. Toodle pip, everybody. Why can't I press the right button?